listening enjoyment, the Camel's Green Gill Theater brings you a strange and intriguing story played by the three great stars who made it such an absorbing hit on the screen. Transcribed from Hollywood, the Camel's Green Gill Theater presents Laura, starring Gene Tierney, Dana Andrews, and Clifton Webb.
Personally, I never got mixed up with either, till I was put on the case of Laura Hunt. It was pretty much routine to start. I picked out the people who had known her best, and this Waldo Lydecker topped the list. Quite a guy, Waldo. Big shot columnist and radio spieler. The kind who dressed formal to have his nails trimmed. The kind who built styles and ruined reputations. The kind of guy I never liked. Yeah, you get a big kick out of doing things different. The first time I saw him, he was in his bath.
If you don't mind, Lieutenant.
Not at all.
The world is rather soiling, I find. I believe one should walk it off fairly frequently. There's a chair there.
Thanks. Nice little place you've got.
It's lavish, but I call it home. I suppose you're here about the Laura Hunt murder?
That's a fair guess.
I have my notes here. Perhaps you'd like me to read them.
Perhaps.
I'm overwhelmed by your enthusiasm.
Go ahead.
Very well. Laura was found yesterday, Saturday morning, dead. A shotgun charge fired at point-blank range. I was questioned by the police, and I stated, quote, on Friday night, Laura had a dinner engagement with me, after which she was ostensibly going out of town. He phoned and canceled our engagement at exactly 7 o'clock.
Why'd you write it down? Afraid you'd forget?
I am one of the most widely misquoted men in America, and I resent it. Now, hand me that washcloth, please. Thank you. As you probably know from reading my column, murder is a hobby of mine. I dare say you consider this one a little different.
Sure. It's duller.
I suppose you prefer the conventional gang killers, machine guns, and black sedans, and all the trimming.
Yeah. At least there you're dealing with real down-to-earth people.
Lieutenant, I believe you're a proletarian snob. Here you have one of the most unusual cases.
The only unusual thing is the addresses. Sutton Place and Park Avenue instead of Flatbush or the Bowery. Outside of that, some two-timing dame gets murdered in her flat practically every day.
Dame? How dare you call Laura a dame?
How would you call her?
She was a woman of distinct character. A lady. I'll have my towel, please.
Mr. Lydecker, were you in love with Laura Hunt? Was she in love with you?
Laura considered me the wisest, the wittiest, the most interesting man she'd ever met. I was in complete accord with her on that. She thought me also the kindest, the gentlest, most sympathetic man in the world. I tried to be all that, too.
Have any luck?
Let me put it this way. I should be sincerely sorry to see my neighbor's children devoured by wolves. My robe, please.
Thank you.
And now, if you'll excuse me, I'd like to dress.
I think we'll talk first.
Talk about what?
About Laura. She's dead. Somebody killed her.
That's neither new nor frightening anymore. Although
what? Got any ideas?
It's possible. But I'd have to tell it to you from the very beginning. From the very first time I ever saw Laura.
Go on.
It was 5 years ago at the Hotel Algonquin. I was having lunch, alone, of course, when suddenly she stood before me, eager and excited.
Mr. Lydecker.
Well?
How do you do? My name is Laura Hunt, and I'm with Burton Company, you know, the big advertising firm, and I'd like to talk something over with you if I may.
I scarcely need to explain that I'm engaged in eating my lunch.
Yes, I know, but it's so hard to get to see you the regular way, and this will only take a minute, really.
Young lady, apparently you suffer from the common and feminine delusion that the mere fact of being a woman exempts you from all rules of civilized conduct.
Oh, impossible. But here's what I wanted to show you. It's for the Wallace Slow Write pen. My company will pay you $5,000 if you'll just endorse me, sir.
I don't use a pen. I write with the goose quill dipped in venom.
But this is a very fine pen, Mr. Lydecker. Won't you at least consider endorsing it?
I'll neither consider, endorse, nor use the Wallace Stowright pen. And if you wish me to publish that statement in my column...
Oh, no, you mustn't. The company doesn't know anything about this. It was my idea to see.
Oh, indeed?
Yes, honestly. I know they'd give anything to get your endorsement, and I thought, well, what's the harm in trying? Mr. Lydecker, it would mean so much to you.
Young woman, you seem to be completely disregarding something more important than your career.
What?
My lunch.
You know, it's strange. You write about people with such real understanding and sentiment.
Sentiment comes easy at 50 cents a word.
If that's how you feel, you must be very lonely.
Will you kindly continue your character analysis elsewhere? You begin to bore me.
You poor man. I'm sorry for you. Good afternoon.
I was a bit annoyed by the incident, but the girl did have spirit, and she was very pretty. So that afternoon, I went to her office, apologized after a fashion, and offered to endorse her pen. That endorsement started her career. Through me, she met everyone, the famous and the infamous, and she captivated them all. But Tuesday and Friday nights, she stayed at home, dined quietly, listened to my records. Those were the best nights. Until one Tuesday, she phoned and said, Waldo, I'm sorry about tonight. I'm afraid I can't come. Another day. Know who it was? I made my business to find out. Deputy, the office. She got her foot, and she'd fallen for him. That's a bold of expression. I wrote a column about him one day. I exposed him, ridiculed him, demolished him, all in my most amusing vein, of course. Of course. And that finished him with her. Period. There were others at times, but Laura's own discrimination ruled them out. Until Shelby Carpenter. Carpenter. That's right. He's on my list. Laura was going to marry him, wasn't she? Well, wasn't she? Perhaps. What does that mean? Maybe you better ask Carpenter. Maybe I'd better. Yeah, maybe I will. Believe me, Lieutenant McPherson, I'm as eager to find the murderer as you are. Laura and I were going to be married this week, you know. Yeah, so I hear. Funny, though, she should want to run out of town on Friday. Right before her wedding, you know. Out of town? She told me she was having dinner with Waldo Lydecker. Then why did she lie? Lie? Twice. To you and to him. She didn't have dinner with Lydecker, and obviously she didn't go away. Carpenter, you told the police you went to a concert Friday night. That's right. Alone. What did they play? Brahms first and Beethoven's ninth. Yeah, that was in the program. Only they changed it the last minute. Played nothing but the big. Well, I suppose I should have told them the truth. I'd been working too hard. I was very tired. I didn't hear a note of the concert. I fell asleep. And didn't that seem strange to you? No, I fall asleep at concerts myself. Carpenter, were you in love with Laura Hunt? Of course I was. Head over heels. She was the most wonderful girl I'd ever known. The most wonderful person. She gave me a chance at a decent job when no one else would. And everyone thought I was just a... I know, a male butterfly. Working there in the office with her. Being so close to her, I couldn't help but fall in love. And she loved me, too. We were going to be married. No matter what Waldo Lydecker said? He had nothing to say about it. He had no claim to it. No, but he wouldn't want to lose her, would he? Well, would he? Why don't you ask him? Yeah, why don't I? You know something? I'm getting to feel like a ping pong ball. Lieutenant, there's no need for me to deny what I thought, but I still think about Shelby Carpenter. Last Tuesday night, I thought it was time for me to act. Laura had come from my place for dinner. The first time in weeks. And when I told her a few homely truths about the chap,
Waldo, by stooping so low, you only degrade yourself.
Laura, I simply told you the facts.
What of it? I know his fault. A man can change, can't he? His past is his own affair. I only care about the present.
Well, then, speaking of the change, Mr. Carpenter, in the present tense, he's running around with a model from your own office. Her name is Diane Redfern.
Waldo, I'm inclined to despise you than I thought I'd ever be. If I thought...
Don't think. Just look. I believe you presented him with a cigarette case on his last birthday. A gold case. Rather valuable. Is this it? From the pawn shop where Diane Redfern took it after he gave it to us.
I don't believe it. He may have needed some money and was too proud to borrow.
Shall be proud. Perhaps that's why the pawn ticket was in her name.
Waldo, I don't know what to say.
Don't say anything, my dear. Not now. I'll expect you for dinner on Friday night. Well, that was the story right up to Friday night, when she phoned him and said she was going up to the country to think the whole thing out by herself. I couldn't do much more with Lydica then, so I legged it over to Laura's place to have myself a look around. That was the first time I saw the portrait, the one Jacoby had painted. It was up on the wall. I stood there looking at it, thinking a lot of things, I guess. And then suddenly...
It was pretty, wasn't it? Awful pretty.
Huh?
And not only pretty, but good. The kindest person I ever met.
Who are you?
I'm Jessie. I'm the maid. I come in every day.
You still come?
I thought I'll clean up.
All right, but don't touch anything in here. I want it left just the way it was. And then I was standing there, alone again, in front of Laura's picture. But after a while, I snapped out of it, told myself I'd have to get to work. So I started on a desk. Letters, date pads, text stuff, even a diary. I was getting to know her pretty well. I don't know how many hours it was. I guess I walked a few miles up and down that room. And when I lighted again, in front of her picture... Intriguing, isn't it? She told me caught her in a very rare mood. What are you doing here, Lydica? I saw the light on and the door was open. What's on your mind? I thought I might arrange for the return of my thing. What thing? That Chinese vase, that grandfather clock at the door. I resent them to Laura. I should like to have them back. Everything stays right where it is. As you wish. Oh. I see you've been going through Laura's desk. Any objections? Only one. I object to your prying to Laura's letters, especially those for me. Why? Those are the best in the bunch. Thanks, but I didn't write them to you. Haven't you any sense of privacy? Not when a dame's been murdered, I have. That word again. Miss Person, did you ever know a woman who wasn't a dame? Yeah, one. But she kept walking me past furniture stores to look at the parlor suit. She wasn't good enough, was she? She wasn't like Laura. You know, when I came in, the way he was staring at that portrait, Laura. Miss Person, you're acting very strangely. Like a suitor who's come here with roses and candy. Drugstore candy, of course. Get going. I'm busy. You know, Miss Person, you better watch yourself, or you'll end up in the psychiatric ward. I don't think you've ever had a patient who fell in love. Shut up. Now get out. He jumped. And I was alone again. I sat there waiting. Waiting for what? I don't know. The room, the night, the silence were alive. And her ghost wouldn't let me go. I guess it must have been after 10 when I heard the door and step. And then...
Who are you? Who are you?
What are you doing here?
I don't know who has a better right to be.
Then say it. Go on, say it.
I live here. It's my apartment. I'm Laura Hunt.
brief intermission and time for a smoke. Are you enjoying a mild cigarette?
How mild can a cigarette be? Make the
Not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking Camels. That's what Notice Throat specialists reported in a coast-to-coast test of hundreds of people who smoked only Camels for 30 days. The hundreds of men and women who made this test averaged from 1 to 2 packs of Camels a day. Each week, Notice Throat specialists examined the throats of these smokers. The reports of every doctor were the same. Not one single case of throat irritation due to smoking Camels. But find out about Camel mildness for yourself. Smoke Camels exclusively for 30 days, as many Camels as you like. You'll enjoy the rich, full flavor of Camel's costly tobaccos, and you'll see just how mild a cigarette can be. Make a note. Remember your throat. Try Camels today. Camel Cigarettes now present the Screen Guild Players in Act 2 of Laura, starring Kristen West, Dana Andrews, and Gene Tierney.
I held my breath for an hour or two. When I came back to work, it was Laura, all right. Alive and well. And even more beautiful than her portrait.
Apparently, she didn't know anything had happened. She'd been up in the country. No phone, no radio. So I handed her a copy of Saturday's paper. And when she looked up... Yeah, but you're not. I guess that's sort of obvious. Now the question is, who? You any idea?
No.
No idea at all.
No.
Who had a key to your apartment?
Nobody. What are you going to do?
Find out who was murdered, then find the murderer. For the time being, I'll just ask you to remain...
Sir, I found this safe in Miss Laura's closet. Hello, Wilson. No. No.
It's all right, Bessie. It's all right. She's alive.
No.
Stop that. Stop it.
Yes, it's been a mistake. I'm not a ghost, really. Saturday morning, I found you. You were there. But I'm alive, Bessie, don't you see? Oh, it's been a bad shock. You go on home and take tomorrow off. Miss Laura, thank you. Thank you. You've been so devoted.
Goodbye.
Thanks, you've been distressing here to you.
Yours?
No.
Ever seen it before?
Is it?
You have? Whose is it?
It belongs to a model who works in our office. Her name is Diane.
Diane Redfern.
What do you know about her?
I know plenty. I know that Philby Carpenter was two-timing you.
He couldn't help it if she was in love with him. Diane told me so herself.
When?
Last Friday, I asked about lunch.
Did you know he'd bring her here that night?
I don't know that he brought her here. Neither do you. You're only guessing.
What other guess is possible? You three are all tied up together. Look, do you love this egg enough to risk your own safety for him?
Master? Are you suspecting?
I suspect nobody and everybody. I'm trying to get the truth. Okay, I'll run along now. But don't leave the house tonight. And don't use the phone.
Am I under arrest?
No. If anything happened to you now, I wouldn't like it. Promise?
All right. I promise.
Good girl. Now, one more thing. You went away to make up your mind about marrying Carpenter. What did you decide? I want the truth.
I decided not to marry him.
Okay. That's swell. Well, I'll see you in the morning. Good night. I had one more job to do that night on Carpenter. He tried to bluff it out at first, but I knew too much. First, he admitted he had a key to Laura's place. He'd taken a duplicate from the office. And then I let him have it between the eyes. I told him about Laura's coming back. And after that, he really started to think.
Might as well, I guess. To find out anyway. Diane insisted on seeing me to have things out once and for all. I couldn't go to her room or take her to my place, so we went to Laura's to talk.
To talk, huh? And she got into a negligee?
There had been a shower. Her dress was wet. She borrowed one of Laura's gowns while she hung her dress up to dry.
Go on.
We talked for 3 hours. And the doorbell rang. Diane went to answer. I heard her going down the hall. Heard the door open. And the shot. By the time I reached her, she was dead. The door was closed. I suppose I should have called the police.
Why didn't you?
I don't know. Because I was afraid. Not only for myself, for Laura.
Why? Did you think she'd done it? Did you?
I don't remember what I thought.
Do you think so now?
No.
I hope you're right, Carpenter. I hope you're right.
Open. Oh, good morning, Lieutenant. You're just in time. I was about to fix some breakfast.
Don't tell me you can cook.
Well, when I used to dream about a career, my mother always listened sympathetically and then taught me another recipe. Bacon and eggs?
Well, but make it for 3. I've invited a guest.
Who?
Waldo Lydecker.
Have you told him about me?
No.
Why not? You saw what happened to Bessie. It's brutal.
That's the kind of guy I am. Brutal.
It isn't funny.
I'm not doing it for fun. Don't move. Don't make a sound. The door's open. Come in.
Good morning, Lieutenant. Any new suspects, too?
Hello, Waldo.
Laura. Laura.
Waldo, what is it?
He fainted. Flat on his face. You know, I think I like him better that way.
I'm really worried about him, Lieutenant. It wasn't fair to surprise him that way.
What's fair about murder, Miss Hunt? I've got to get the truth.
And you want me to go through with the rest of it, too?
Just like I said.
If Waldo asks me to dinner, I'm to tell him I can't. But I'm going out with you.
That's right.
It won't work. He won't believe me.
Why? Does that seem so impossible to you? Does it, Laura?
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't seem impossible at all.
Did you tell him, Laura? What did he say?
Oh, you know Waldo. First he was annoyed, then sarcastic. And then he suggested lobster thermidor at the colony. Now it's after 7. You still think you're right?
I don't know, Laura. It's a chance we had to take. Remember, if it does happen, I'll be standing by. I'll be right there behind the screen. Enough to give it away.
I won't.
No,
Mark.
no. You know what to do.
Just a moment. Why, Waldo.
Am I too early or too late?
Neither. Mark isn't here yet.
Of course. Then I must conclude my business before he arrives.
Business?
Yes, this grandfather's trunk. It's mine, remember?
You came for it? No. But you can't carry it. You have to send someone for it.
Laura, this trunk is very precious. The only one of its kind in the world. You see this hidden spring? Secret compartment. A secret compartment large enough to hold...
Gun. Stop, son.
I made a mistake on Friday night. I won't make one now.
Waldo.
The best part of myself, that's what you are. You think I'd leave you to the vulgar pawing of a second-rate detective who thinks you're a dame? No, Laura. Rather than that, I...
Don't raise that gun. If you do, I'll let you have it. It wasn't too tough after pictures, it wasn't too tough to put them together. And I knew who did it. All I needed was the gun. Thanks, Lydecker. We can go along now.
Yes, of course, Lieutenant. You're in a hurry. You have a dinner engagement, I believe.
Waldo, please.
My congratulations, Miss Hunt. I hope you'll be very happy in Brooklyn or the Bronx, wearing an imitation socks and shopping for Paul Astute in the credit establishment. Just so you never regret what promises to be a disgustingly earthy relationship. Very well, Lieutenant. Shall we go?
Are back at the microphone for a final round of applause. And Gene, Dana, and Clifton, may I say for all of us how richly you deserve it.
Thank you, Vern. One of the nicest things in Hollywood is the Motion Picture Relief Fund and its country house and hospital. Year after year, they do magnificent work, and all of us are proud to share in that work by appearing here with the Screen Guild players. Am I right, gentlemen?
Absolutely right. Dana not only agrees with Eugene, but like most impulsive young men, would like to improve on it.
Well, not exactly, Clifton. I just want to add a word. It's about our sponsor. The Camel people try to bring a little extra cheer each week to hospitalized servicemen and veterans by sending gift cigarettes to hospitals in various parts of the country. This week, the Camels go to Veterans Hospitals Biloxi, Mississippi, and Temple, Texas. U.S. Army Walter Reed General Hospital, Washington, D.C., U.S. Naval Hospital, Key West, Florida. The makers of Camels have now sent more than 190 million Camels to servicemen, servicewomen, and veterans.
Happy smoking, fellows. Your free cigarettes are on their way to you now with the compliments of Camels. Every Thursday night, the Camel Screen Guild Theater. And next week, the outstanding event of the season, when Red Book Magazine visits the Screen Guild Theater to make its annual awards for motion picture achievement. Our play will be the sparkling comedy hit of the year, Everybody Does It, starring Linda Darnell, Paul Douglas, and Celeste Holmes. And the Red Book Award will go to... Well, we can't tell you that now. Tune in and find out. And for fun and hilarity, don't miss Camel Cigarette's other great show over these same stations. Tomorrow night, the Jimmy Durante Show with Donna Nietzsche and Vera Bates. The Camel Screen Guild Theater is transcribed and directed in Hollywood by Bill Lawrence. The adaptation by Harry Grundman. Laura was presented through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox, producers of When Willie Comes Marching Home. Dana Andrews' next release will be Where the Sidewalk Ends. Gene Tierney will soon be seen in Night in the City. Clifton Webb can next be seen in Cheaper by the Dozen. All 20th Century Fox pictures. And remember, next Thursday night, the Red Book Magazine Annual Awards, when the Camel Screen Guild Theater presents Everybody Does It, starring Linda Darnell, Paul Douglas, and Celeste Holmes. This is Vern Smith speaking.
To Hollywood's greatest stars in their greatest motion picture roles. The American Broadcasting Company brings you the Screen Guild Theater. Tonight it's Gregory Peck with Ward Bond, Hugh Marlowe, Millard Mitchell, Reed Hadley, and John Kellogg in the transcribed radio premiere of their magnificent 20th Century Fox production, 12 O'Clock High. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the Screen Guild Players begin their 14th glorious year on the air. And in the weeks to come, you will be hearing all of Hollywood's most famous stars in their most memorable motion picture roles. And here is our curtain raiser, one of the most compelling and dynamic pictures in years. Darrell F. Zanuck's tremendous production, 12 O'Clock High, starring Gregory Peck with Ward Bond, Hugh Marlowe, Millard Mitchell, Reed Hadley, and John Kellogg.
I was in England recently. I was there on business. But it wasn't business that took me down to Archbury, to the quiet countryside beyond the town. A group of tired, sagging buildings off the road. A tall wooden pole with a tattered windsock hanging limply from its peak. A concrete runway stretching off across the fields. The weeds growing wild between the cracks. The grease and oil stains almost faded out. I stood there quietly, lost in my thoughts. And in a sudden rush, it all came back. 1942, the early days of the war. I was Major Stovall then, Group Adjutant with the 918th, the hard luck group they used to call us, Tail End Charlies. And Lord Haw-Haw in Berlin was giving us the rad.
Tonight I bring a special greeting from the fighter pilots of the Luftwaffe to the first American pilots in England, the 8th Air Force.
That's all we need.
Losses are a little heavy, aren't they? And remember, these are only shallow penetrations into France. Practice missions, really. What would it be like if you ventured as far as German soil? Let's take the 918th group at Archbury, for instance.
Hey, that's us. McElhaney.
They call you the Hard Luck Group, Tail End Charlie. You lost 5 bombers today, didn't you? 5 out of 21. At that rate, it won't take very long, will it? Something pleasant to think about before your mission tomorrow. Oh, yes, Colonel Keith Davenport. You'll have another one tomorrow. You'll be interested to know that your group has been singled out for some special attention by our reception committee. Pleasant dreams, my misguided friends. Good night.
Oh, he's off his trolley. The group's been over twice in 2 days. They couldn't be going back tomorrow.
You're wrong, Sergeant. They are.
Ben, you're kidding.
I wish I were, Harvey. Orders came down about an hour ago. They're going in at 9,000 feet.
9,000? What did Keith say?
Plenty, and he isn't through yet.
What do you mean?
He's gone up to Pine Tree to see the big boys. I only hoped he tells them off good.
Davenport to see General Savage, sir.
Okay, Pete. Come on in, Keith. Well, hiya, fella. What goes?
You ought to know.
The Wailing Wall is just down the hall. Oh, I don't know. I guess this is it. Sit down, sit down.
If you're on the level about this 9,000-foot stuff, the boys will drop their bombs here tomorrow instead of St. Nazaire. Now, look, Frank.
Yeah, I know. It won't work. It was tough enough at 19,000. It'll be suicide at 9. The guy who dreamed this one up ought to have his brain in a glass jar at Harvard. Anything else?
You think you're kidding? Look, Frank, you've been a group commander. You didn't lead the first 10 missions for nothing. Why couldn't you tell them what it'll be like?
Keith, I signed the field order.
Why? That's what I want to know. Why?
All right, I'll spell it. At 19,000, we haven't been penetrating the concrete in those submarine pens. We've got to try at least once down low. See if we can get the job done in one trip instead of fighting our way to the target and back 5 times for nothing.
9,000
Now, let's allow
feet.
from here in that when the old man cuts a field order, he's thought about it. If I were you, when I got one, I'd just go ahead and fly it.
Okay. Well, I'd better get back and get the chores done.
No. Stay put a minute now you're here. Thought maybe I'd run down to see you tomorrow. How many you expect to put up?
18.
Pretty bad luck today.
Not good, like always.
It's kind of rough to be tagged as a hard luck group.
You're telling me.
I'd like to help you locate the trouble if I could. What about your formation?
It isn't formation. That's not the trouble. I can tell you where the real trouble is.
All right, shoot.
It isn't down in the groups, it's up here. Do they know up here what my boys have been taking 3 days in a row, that they'll be up again all night to get 18 in the air tomorrow? Now, how much do you think they can take? Do you know they're falling asleep at briefing? Are you going to drive them until they crack?
Take it easy.
Take it easy. Bomber Command can take it easy, but those boys are flesh and blood. They'll die for you, but they've got to have a chance, and they know they haven't got one. They can add. What do you guys think they're made of?
Now, look, Keith. Yes, sir.
Just got the reports from the groups. Come on up, Frank.
I'll be there in a minute, sir. Now, Keith, we've got a lot of things coming. Replacements, combat limits. But right now, the deal is to hang on. And look, you've got to find a way to save yourself a little. You can't carry all the load. It's too big. Now, go on, take off. I got to see the old man.
There it is, Frank. The same old story with the 918. 5 planes lost today, and they'll only put up 18 tomorrow. It's getting worse instead of better.
Yes, sir?
You say you talked to Keith? What do you make of it?
Oh, hard luck, I guess. There's always some outfit that picks up a jinx.
You don't believe that. Neither do I. I don't believe in hard luck. There's always a reason. What's on your mind, Frank? Spill it.
I'd rather not.
Let's have it, with the bark on.
Well, you won't like it. I don't. It's the group commander.
Keith? That's a little funny coming from you. He's your friend.
No, I didn't ask you to ask me.
I didn't mean it to sound like that, Frank.
Well, that's okay.
Funny, on paper, Keith Davenport looked to me like the best group commander we had. Flies every mission, gets more loyalty from his men than anyone. Courage, works hard. I don't know where to fault him. If a man like that can't
Well,
cut
he
it...
can't. Not now. He's going to bust wide open.
Why?
Why? Because he's a first-rate guy. Because those are his boys, and he's thinking of them instead of his missions. Over-identification with his men. I think that's what they call it. And you aren't going to change it either.
Frank, if that's true, we're in trouble. Let's get the car and run down to Archbury. A few things I'd like to find out for myself.
We were 3 minutes late over the target, sir. That's when we got most of it. On our bombing run.
That was a deadly 3 minutes, Keith. The whole idea was to get all the groups over the target simultaneously and at different altitudes so that enemy flak couldn't concentrate on any one group. What made you late?
The takeoff. One of our planes broke through the runway. But I figured we could make up the time, catch up with the other groups, and... Well, if it hadn't been for our stinking luck...
Luck? What luck was that?
It wasn't luck, sir. It was my fault.
Zimmy, it wasn't anybody's fault.
I'd like to hear his version, Keith. Lieutenant?
We had to alter the navigation in flight, General Pritchard. We picked up an error, wind change, and I missed a checkpoint. By the time I caught it, we lost 3 minutes. We never made it up.
Shut up, Zimmy.
Keith.
If there is any fault, it's mine, sir. I was in command. I ordered the change in the flight plan. The weather was thick enough. It could have happened to anybody.
Well, I think that covers it. Thank you, Lieutenant. That's all, gentlemen. Keith, you stay, will you? You too, Frank.
Right.
Keith, I know you're tired, but let's talk a little. Let's talk about luck.
Sir?
I don't believe in it. I believe that in some degree a man makes his own luck. Yours has been pretty bad down here and is getting worse, not better. Maybe that navigator's in point. He blew it. What are you going to do about it?
General Pritchard, I don't believe in chopping off heads just because of one mistake. I don't think that's any way to run a group.
I feel sorry for the boy, Keith. But what are the men in your group going to be thinking about the next mission he navigates? That he messed up the St. Nazaire mission. It's just that much more load on them. And one day, if they fall apart on you, that won't be luck.
General, if it was anyone else but Zimmerman, he's got 2 strikes on him to begin with. He has to fly every mission, trying to live down his parents. They were mixed up in the German-American Bund. They screened Zimmy plenty before he got overseas. That's what's riding him now.
Now, look, Keith, good navigators are the one thing we're not short of. If you decide you ought to relieve Zimmerman, I'll see that you get a good replacement.
Frank, you might as well ask me to stand him up against a wall and shoot him in the back. No, I won't do it. I just can't do it to him. I won't.
Keith, I guess a man only has so much to give, and I guess you've given it. Effective now, you are relieved of this command, and you will report to me for duty at Bomber Command. I'll send someone down to take over here. Good night, Keith. Come along, Frank.
He took it hard. I knew he would.
Had to be done, Frank. We couldn't afford it. What's that?
It's down the hall. Come on.
What is it, Major? What's happened?
Lieutenant Zimmerman, sir. I thought he dropped in to talk like he always did. But he just sat there staring into space, and then all of a sudden, before I could stop him, We've never had anything like this before. How shall I certify it, sir?
Died of wounds received in action. If there's any question, send his papers to me.
Why'd you stop, sir? Want me to take the wheel?
No, I just want to talk. Frank, there's a hole in the dike. I'm scared stiff. If the 9/18th folds, it can spread to the other three groups. It can fold the whole deal. There's only one hope of shortening this war. Daylight precision bombing. If we fold, daylight bombing is done with. You can smell what's coming, Frank.
Sort of.
I'm promising you nothing except a job no man should have to do who's already had more than his share of combat. I've got to ask you to take nice kids and fly them until they can't take any more, and then put them back in and fly them some more. We've got to find out what a maximum effort is. How much a man can take and get it all. I don't even know if any man can do it. That's what cracked Keith. What time tomorrow do you think you can get down there?
Early, I guess.
No squawks, Frank?
It's pretty hard to have one, the way you put it.
Thanks, Frank. Let's go get some sleep.
Ensign!
Yes, sir?
How do I address you?
I don't think I quite understand it, General, sir.
What's your rank? How am I supposed to know with your shirt off?
Oh, Sergeant McElhenney, sir, U.S. Army Air Forces.
It's Private McElhenney now. Where's the air exec?
I don't think he's on the station, sir. He left right after Lieutenant Zimmerman's funeral.
No, where's the ground exec?
In the hospital, sir. Mumps.
And the adjutant?
I think Major Stovall is over at the officers' club, sir.
Now, when you get your clothes on, find him and tell him to report to me here.
Yes, sir.
And on your way back, pick up a hose.
A hose, sir?
That's right, a hose. We're going to clean this place up.
Major Stovall, Group Adjutant reporting, sir.
Yes, I remember you, Major. You the only one around?
Probably, sir. I presume you've come down to take over this group.
That's right. You've been drinking, Major?
I have. It is the first time I have been drunk in 20 years, but it may not be the last.
Where's the air exec?
I don't know, sir. It's only an opinion, but I think it's possible Colonel Gately may be drunk too, sir.
I'll take straight answers, Major. Is Gately off the station?
Yes, sir.
Where?
I don't know, sir.
Then send the MPs out and find him and bring him to me under arrest.
Does the general mean under actual arrest?
Exactly. Number 2, cancel all leaves and passes. 3, bring me the personnel files, the 66-1s on Gately and the key staff, including yours.
Yes, sir.
4, set up a meeting for all combat crews in the briefing room tomorrow morning at 0800.
Yes, sir. Is that all, sir?
That's all.
Colonel Gately, air exec, sir. May I ask the General why I've been placed under arrest?
No.
But, sir,
Stand at attention.
Yes, sir.
You're the son of Lieutenant General Tom Gately, aren't you?
I believe that's my standard identification, sir.
The son of one fine officer and the grandson of another. A graduate of West Point with 9 years' service. Your 66-1 shows that you have more four-engine time than any man in the group. For those reasons, you could have done more than anybody to take the load off Colonel Davenport. But the record shows you've flown only 3 missions since you've been here. Is that right?
If you don't count twice, I turn back, sir.
I take it you don't even care that you've helped to break one of the best men you'll ever know. Add to it, as air exec, you were automatically in command here the moment Colonel Davenport left. And you met that responsibility exactly as you met his need. You left the station to get drunk. Gately, as far as I'm concerned, you're yellow. A traitor to yourself, to this group, to the uniform you wear. I hate a man like you so much that I'm going to get your head down in the mud and trample it. I'm going to make you wish you'd never been born.
If that's all, sir.
I'm just getting started. From now on, you're going to get a belly full of flying. You're going to make every mission. You're not air exec anymore. You're just an airplane commander. And I want you to paint this name on the nose of your ship. The Leper Colony. Because you're going to get every deadbeat in this outfit. Every man with a penchant for head colds. If there's a bombardier who can't hit his plate with his fork, you get him. If there's a navigator who can't find the men's room, you get him because you rate him. Is that clear?
General, I have a right to file charges against you for personal abuse and exceeding your lawful authority.
Okay.
And I...
Hello, get me Pine Tree. I want General Pritchard. Yes, I'll wait. Rights, Gately, rights. You've got a right to explain to General Pritchard cowardice, desertion of your post, a yellow streak a mile wide. And maybe he can explain it to your father so that they'll both be proud of you. You can tell him right now.
General Savage, I withdraw my statement.
That's all then. Dismissed. Major Stovall.
Yes, sir. You called me, sir?
Cut an order relieving Colonel Gately as air exec.
Yes, sir. Anybody else, sir?
I'll let you know, Major. Oh, there's one file here. Cobb, squadron commander. He shows a good record in the air. Any recommendations on his personal qualifications?
I'm sure the General will be pleased with any selections he makes from this group.
Thanks for the help, Major. I'll be around the station.
Yes, sir. Where to, sir? I've been assigned as the General's driver.
Now run me over to the officers' club. Hey, aren't you the clerk that I saw?
Yes, sir. Private McElhenney, sir.
Well, general officers rate sergeants as drivers. You better put those stripes back on.
You can see him through the window, sir. That's Major Cobb at the bar.
Oh, thank you, Sergeant. You can wait out here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Something for the General, sir?
Beer.
Yes, sir. Fix you up, Major Cobb?
I'm all right, Corporal.
Oh, not quite, Major. Remove your cap in the club.
That's regulations, huh?
It is.
Okay.
One beer for the General. What's time, sir?
All right, here you are. Have another drink, Major Cobb.
Scotch.
Here, take it out of this, Corporal. Drinks are on me. With the Major's permission.
No regulations against buying my own, is there?
That's right.
I'm buying my own.
Corporal?
Yes, sir.
This bar is closed for tonight, and until further notice.
Yes, sir. Where to, sir?
Well, I'm going to walk. You can run the car back to operations.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and Sergeant.
Sir?
You can tell the adjutant to cut an order. I'm assigning Major Cobb as air exec.
Say, Harvey, I thought he was such a bug for discipline.
He is, Doc. You'll see.
But he called this meeting for 0800, and it's 10 seconds to, and it...
And there he is. Attention!
Rest. Now, there'll be a briefing for a practice mission at 1100 this morning. That's right, practice. I've been sent down here to take over what has come to be known as a hard luck group. Well, I don't believe in hard luck, so we're going to find out what the trouble is. Maybe part of it's your flying, so we'll go back to fundamentals. But I can tell you now one reason I think you're having hard luck. I saw it in your faces last night. I can see it there now. You've been looking at a lot of air lately, and you think you ought to have a rest. In short, you're sorry for yourselves. Now, I haven't much patience with this what are we fighting for stuff. We're in a war, a shooting war. We've got to fight. And some of us have got to die. I'm not trying to tell you not to be afraid. Fear is normal. But stop worrying about it and about yourselves. Stop making plans. Forget about going home. Consider yourselves already dead. Once you accept that idea, it won't be so tough. Now, if any man here can't buy that, if he rates himself as something special, with a special kind of hide to be saved, he'd better make up his mind about it right now, because I don't want him in this group. I'll be in my office in 5 minutes. You can see me there. That's all.
I'll take Colonel Davenport any day.
What does it look like to you, Stovall?
Doc, I better get back over to the office. The traffic's going to be pretty heavy.
The flight surgeon and the air exec are here.
Oh, they beat you to it, Major Stovall?
How do you mean, sir?
Well, I thought maybe you'd be the first in line to ask for transfer.
No, sir.
Well, I wouldn't have done you any good. Doesn't go for staff. You're stuck with me.
Yes, sir.
You might tell them out there.
They didn't come for that, sir. They thought you'd want to see them about the practice mission.
Good. Come in, gentlemen.
General, this is our flight surgeon, Major Kaiser.
I'm glad to see you, Doc.
I think you met Major Cobb.
Yes, I did indeed.
I'll be outside, sir.
Good enough.
I don't know if you still want me here, sir, after last night. No need to tell you I was stiff.
Well, stiff or not, you laid it on the line. You got the job after I saw you at the club, not before. Well, you were in the briefing room, Cobb. Do you still want it?
I think I can cut it for you, sir.
You got a deal. Now set up this practice mission, handle the briefing. Put me in the lead ship with Gately's crew. Tell Stovall I said to cut any orders you want. Anything else?
No, sir.
See you at takeoff.
Right, sir.
Now, what about crew availability, Doc?
Well, we have a very critical morale problem, sir. You gave them the shock treatment this morning, a bucket of cold water. I take it that's the key in which you want me to figure how much stress they can take.
If a man is physically capable of handling his airplane, he goes.
Well, that's definite enough. But some things can't be accomplished just by issuing an order.
Well, have you got a treatment to suggest?
Yes, sir. Ease up. Give them a chance to get used to you, to like you, the way they like Colonel Davenport.
No, Major, for two reasons. First, there isn't time. Second, I can't enter a popularity contest with Keith Davenport. I'd lose that one. And one thing more. I think they're better than that.
All right, sir. That's it.
Not all of it. I think I know how deep the problem here is. And I'm convinced that the one thing that will solve it is pride. Pride in this group. The kind of pride that'll make it the last thing a man wants is to be left on the ground. And that's my job, not yours. Paint it with iodine and mark 'em duty, Doc.
Yes, sir.
Stovall.
Yes, sir.
Any more callers?
Lieutenant Bishop was here, sir. He came as their spokesman.
Spokesman?
The ones they're going to ask to be transferred.
How many, Major?
All of them, sir.
All. All right, that's it. Put their request through squadron channels. Meanwhile, they fly. Anything else?
Well, we made some coffee, sir, if you'd like to have some.
Thank you, Major.
I'll bring it in.
Oh, no, wait. I'll come out there with you and get it.
I'm sorry, all we've got's a tin cup.
Oh, that's fine. You're pretty cluttered up in here. What are those folders for?
They're personal effects of the boys that got it, to be sent to the next of kin. I'm a little behind. I always write a letter.
Yeah, it's a tough chore. Don't envy you. How'd you happen to get into this paperwork?
No choice. I'm a retread. I had my shot at combat the first war, and they figured I was too old for anything else but a desk.
Tell me, you liked Keith Davenport, didn't you? A lot, I mean.
Yes, sir. I thought he was one of the finest men I ever knew.
Yeah, same way the boys felt, I'm sure. Loyalty's a fine thing. Well, thanks for the coffee, Major. Guess I'd better get...
General Savage.
Yes?
I'd like to tell you something else, I think.
Go ahead, Major.
I'm a lawyer by trade, and I think I'm a good one. When a good lawyer takes on a client, it's because he believes in the client's case, and that's all that matters. When I came over to England, I took on my biggest client, the 918th Bomb Group, and I want to see my client win. Does that answer what you had in your mind?
On the button.
What did you have in mind exactly?
Well, I need some time before those transfers go through.
How much time?
As much as we can get. 10 days anyway.
Well, it'll take the squadron adjutants at least 2 days to draw up all those requests.
Yes?
Well, let's see. I've got a good deal of stuff on my desk here. Might be 3 days before I get around to them.
That's 5.
Take a couple of days to check them. That'd be 7. Then those squadron adjutants are sometimes pretty sloppy, and I certainly don't want this group criticized for sloppy paperwork. Do you, General?
I couldn't permit it.
So my guess is that every one of these requests may have to go back to the squadron adjutants. And by the time they're done over and the time I recheck them, well, it'll be 10 days anyway before they'll be ready for signature.
What a way to run an outfit. You red tape adjutants are all alike.
That's right, sir.
Still, there's liable to be a little talk. They're apt to hear about it up above, Inspector General. You know, there can be trouble in this, Harvey.
Well, I don't think so, sir.
Why not?
Speaking out of experience, sir, I never heard of a jury convicting the lawyer.
We will return with the second act of 12 O'Clock High in a few moments.
When an object is completely in the dark, we can't see it at all. Place one light upon it and it appears flat and distorted. Throw another beam upon it from a different angle and it begins to assume its true three-dimensional shape. And that's the way it is with the day's news, too. The more viewpoints we can get, the more apt we are to reach the true picture. So for a fuller three-dimensional understanding of the news, hear Robert Montgomery speaking on your ABC station tonight. Now, a brief pause for local station identification.
Now the American Broadcasting Company presents transcribed the Screen Guild Players in Act 2 of 12 O'Clock High, starring Gregory Peck as General Savage, Ward Bond as Major Stovall, Millard Mitchell as General Pritchard, Hugh Marlowe as Colonel Gately, Reed Hadley as Colonel Davenport, and John Kellogg as Major Kahn. Major Stovall continues our story.
Given himself a 10-day limit. 10 days to whip those bitter, sullen boys into a cohesive fighting group. It was a sort of a war, a personal war. No quarter given and no quarter asked, especially on Colonel Gately's plane.
Let me have your attention, men. Now, in case any of you aren't clear as to what this is all about, I'm supposed to be a deadbeat, and so are you. That's why you're assigned to me. The leper colony. How do you like it? Well, you'll like it less the first mistake you make. We've got a blowtorch turned our way, and nobody's going to shove me into it. Is that clear? All right, station. Ready for takeoff.
They were flying practice missions every day. The general always up there in the lead plane, his voice snapping all around the group, until at last you could begin to see results, to see them even down on the ground.
Boy, oh boy, look at him up there. Stacked in mighty pretty, huh?
Yeah, must be Colonel May's group or one of the... Holy cow, it's ours, the 918.
Well, what do you know? Pretty, huh?
5 days of that. And then we weren't making believe anymore. We were alerted. 2 red-hot missions, 2 successive days. And afterward in the briefing room...
All right, men. In the first place, I want you to know that there's no rank in here. This is the place to get things off your chest, whether it's a beef about equipment, tactics, what somebody did or didn't do, or about how the mission was led. Anything goes. Okay, I'll start. The good side first. 2 missions, only 1 aircraft lost. Very little battle damage. That's because most of the time we flew good, tight formation. Enemy fighters took one look and didn't want any part of the 918. The bad side. Bombing. Fair, particularly the low squadron. That means we start dropping practice bombs every day there isn't a mission. Cobb, that's your baby.
Roger.
Anybody got any comment? Well, I've got some more. Henley.
Here, sir.
The strike photos show you toggle late with your bombs. What's the reason?
No excuse, sir.
Well, at least you're honest, Henley. But 9 men in your plane risk their lives in order to put bombs on a target. Gately?
Yes, sir?
Here's a new bombardier for you. Pettingill.
Here, sir.
We're plenty lucky to have only 1 loss on this strike. Why did you break formation?
Well, sir, Ackerman was in trouble. 2 engines on fire. I figured I'd better stay back with him and try to cover him going into the target. But he couldn't make it.
I see. Ackerman a pretty good friend of yours?
My roommate, sir.
So, for the sake of your roommate, you violated group integrity. When you pull a B-17 out of formation, the group loses the defensive power of 10 guns. A crippled airplane has to be expendable. The one thing that is never expendable is your obligation to the group. This group, that has to be your loyalty, your only reason for being. Stovall.
Yes, sir.
Have the billeting officer work out a complete reassignment of quarters. Give every man a new roommate.
Very well, sir.
Gately. Baxter's promoted out of the leper colony. Pettingill's your new co-pilot. Well, that's all I've got. Anybody else got anything they want to bring up?
What about our transfers?
Okay, if that's all, dismissed.
General.
Oh, yes, Harvey.
Piece of cake, sir.
Oh, thanks.
My oldest daughter's work. Hey, you're not supposed to eat the candles, sir.
Oh, birthday cake.
Yes, it's a little late. My birthday was 6 weeks ago.
How many kids you got, Harvey?
4.
How many boys?
None, sir. All females.
Oh.
I guess there's not much difference, though, the way they think. Pretty stubborn sometimes when they're young.
You trying to tell me something?
Those requests for transfer. Hasn't one of them been withdrawn. And I can't keep holding them up forever. If the Inspector General got hold of it,
I guess I must have blown it somewhere, Harvey.
Well, I might be able to squeeze out another day or so if only...
Only what? Go on, say it.
Well, they are just boys, sir. You can't just drive them. You got to win something from them, or they will walk out on you.
Give them something to lean on, you mean?
If you want to call it that, sir.
Well, Harvey, I don't believe it. I don't think they're boys. They're men. It's pretty bad to have to grow all the way up to 21, but that's the only way we'll get this job done. And I think they can do it, too. Lean on somebody, do it for me or Keith Davenport or anyone else. I think they're better than that. And if they aren't, we're a dead duck, and we'd better find out about it now, once and for all.
Yes, sir. Stovall speaking. Yes, Cobb. Yes, I got it. Roger.
Cobb.
Teletype just came in, sir. We're alerted for tomorrow.
Can't seem to get through to him, General Pritchard. Can't figure why.
He hasn't answered your call at all?
No, sir. Acknowledgments from the other groups, they're all turned back, but nothing from the 918th.
Forget code. Try to reach him in the clear.
Yes, sir. Pine Tree to Flashlight Leader. Come in. Pine Tree to Flashlight Leader. This is a recall. Change of weather. Come in, Flashlight Leader. Nothing, sir.
I don't get it. Keith, you cut that field order. Weren't all commanders told to guard Channel B because of possible weather changes?
Yes, sir. It was in the field order, sir.
And something's happened. If they've gone on to the target alone. I can't just sit here and take it. I'm going down to Archbury.
All right, Tower. Keep it coming. 18. 19. 20. 21. All back, General Pritchard.
Well, that's something, Stovall. I'm glad we still have miracles.
Frank.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, we had a little weather, but the target area cleared off just long enough for the 918th to clobber it good.
That's fine, Frank, fine. What about the recall?
Recall, sir? What recall? Never heard it. I must have had a radio malfunction.
I see.
The bar's open, Harvey. The boys really earned it today. I'll cut an order for...
Just a minute, Frank. You think I'm buying a quick Persian rug about a radio malfunction? I suppose you'll tell me next the weather was just bad enough you didn't see the other groups turn back.
Yes, sir.
You've got no right to gamble like that, not with my money. And don't think you can justify it because you got away with it either.
No, sir. I didn't hear. Must have had radio malfunction.
You mean you're going to stick by that fairy tale?
Yes, sir. And there's something else you might as well know, sir. The 918th got through today and bombed the target when nobody else did. And if I ever get another chance like that to give this group the pride it ought to have in itself, I may have radio malfunction again, sir. And there's one more thing. I'm asking you for a commendation for this group, for their courage, skill, and aggressiveness. And you don't need to mention the leadership, sir.
All right, you get it. I'll go out and dictate it to your clerk.
General Savage, sir.
Relax, Harvey. Mission accomplished.
I hope so, sir.
What do you mean?
The Inspector General got here today. He wants to talk to every pilot in the group.
Oh, this is a pain in the neck. I never did like to pack.
I know how you feel, sir. I never liked it myself.
Anything new?
They're still at it. Locked up in the briefing room of the IG.
Harvey, you know, you're going to make a kind of a silly-looking second lieutenant when he gets through with you.
You want some advice from your lawyer? Well, never give up the case before the jury comes in.
Don't kid yourself. We've already had it. Well, so what? What's so bad about the Pentagon building? Good food, cocktails every night, nothing to do but...
General Savage.
What?
I guess you'd better start unpacking, General.
Well, what happened?
Bishop started it, withdrawing his transfer. Wilson followed, and the rest of them just climbed aboard. Left the IG with nothing to do but pack up his hatchet and go home.
Well, what do you know?
Where's my briefcase? I was here a minute ago.
I knew they couldn't buck you forever, sir. They finally realized they had a chance to hit the target and get home when you were up front, lady.
Well, they'd better not get used to counting on any one man. We don't want to make that mistake again.
You know, General, it wouldn't be any mistake to cut loose with a few 3-day passes to London. Sort of a pat on the back.
I see what you mean, Joe. Kiss and make up, huh? Well, you kiss them, Joe, for shedding their diapers. And tell them if they're counting on me that you're going to lead the next one, and it better be good. And tell Bishop he's going to lead and find out how it feels to carry some of the load. I want every one of them to have a crack at it. We're going to build some real leadership around here now. All right, Harvey, you escaped from under those second lieutenant's bars, so don't just stand around with your thumb in your mouth. Come on, let's get back to work.
Tough man, isn't he?
Yeah, but you can carry this iron-tail business too far. Wouldn't hurt him to be human like Keith Davenport.
You want to know something, Joe? The only difference between Frank Savage and Keith Davenport is that Savage is about just that much taller. Vehicle blaze. Strike photos show target demolished. One aircraft lost, no other damage. Le Bourget. Mission accomplished. All aircraft returned. Amiens. Strong fighter resistance. 2 aircraft damaged. All aircraft returned. That's it, Joe. All of them in that are coming in.
There's Savage now. Come on. How was it, sir?
Well, it was rough. They were laying for us, Joe. What's the count?
2 missing, sir. It looked like 4, but O'Neill made it into the RAF field at Lincolnshire. Gately ditched in the channel. Air Sea Rescue picked them up.
Well, that's not bad. First time over a German target.
The worst part's here. Waiting here and...
Now, look here, Cobb. I've heard about...
May I ask the General a favor, sir?
What?
May I lead the next one over Germany?
All right, Joe. Your baby. You take the next one.
Shall I call the tower for a count, sir?
No, Harvey. I'll know soon enough.
Major Cobb reporting, sir.
What's the count, Joe?
We lost 1. 397. Jesse Bishop.
Bishop? Did you see any chutes open?
No, sir. They caught a direct burst right over the target. I don't think they had a chance. A swell kid like that, one of the best pilots in the group, he would have to get it.
One crew could have been lots worse, Joe. How about battle damage?
Everybody caught plenty.
General Savage, sir.
Now, come in, Doc.
I thought I ought to come over and tell you about Gately.
Gately, he get hit today?
No, sir. But right after he landed, he folded up, passed out cold.
Passed out from what?
Well, it must have happened when he ditched in the channel the other day, but he never reported any injury. He's got a crack in the lip of the vertebrate body. It's incredibly painful. He's flown 3 missions with it.
A fractured spine.
That's about what it amounts to.
Gately. Okay, Doc. Thanks for telling me.
Anybody in particular you want to see, General Savage?
Oh, no, thanks, Lieutenant. Just looking around. You go right ahead with what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
Gately, asleep?
Oh, hello, General. No, I was just sort of resting.
How you feeling, Ben?
I'm okay, sir.
I was sorry to hear about your bad luck.
Thank you, sir.
How long docs say you're going to be laid up?
Few weeks, sir.
It's pretty painful.
Not much, sir. This rig helps a lot.
Well, I guess you don't feel much like talking.
That's okay, General. Go right ahead.
Ben.
Yes, sir?
Ben, I was going to say, do you want something? Anything I can send you?
Not a thing, General. I've got everything I need.
Well, you let us know if you do need anything.
Thank you, sir.
I got some more calls to make across the hall. I'll be seeing you, Ben.
Nurse. Nurse!
I know. Time for your shot.
I've been calling you for a half an hour. You'd think a full colonel would get some attention around here.
Not when the nurse is talking to a general.
What do you want?
I guess I'll have to rate you a Class A customer. I just learned you're something extra special.
There must be something special, General Pritchard, for you to haul me up to Pine Tree.
It is special, Frank. Very special. A target of critical importance. Deep in Germany. Far beyond possible fighter support. If we can reach it and destroy it, we will have proved daylight precision bombing. This is the one we have been waiting for.
I'm listening, sir.
With our limited equipment, it may take 3 trips. Maybe 2 if we're very lucky and very good.
And what are we after?
Ball bearings. Almost the entire German production is concentrated right there. We could slow their whole armament industry to a halt.
Mind if I pour myself a drink, sir?
Pour a long one, Frank. If we bring this one off, things are likely to pick up for us. We may get 3 or 4 whole new groups.
They're growing up fast, huh?
I hope so. How soon do you think you can turn loose down there and come back and help me?
Well, that's kind of hard to say, sir.
Why, Frank? On paper, the group looks fine now.
Well, the leadership's a problem. Always has been. It takes time to know.
How long do you figure?
Well, I don't know that one either. How can you be sure? How do you know what you're crowding Gately into? How do you know we didn't push Bishop up there just that once too often? I don't know how I'll know, but I'm the one that's down there, and I'll have to be...
Frank, you're swinging after the bell. Remember Keith Davenport's trouble? You're not propping them up, too, are you? Take a good look, Frank.
You think that?
It would be natural enough. The things you go through with a bunch of those boys. It's hard not to let them get under your hide. And lately, you've been flying more missions rather than less.
Well, look, General, I'm the one who has to shove them up there. And until I know that they're ready, I'm not about to turn them loose.
All right. But make it as soon as you can, will you?
You bet I will, sir.
Good luck, Frank.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Hello, Keith. Pritchard. I want the files on all squadron commanders with recommendations on those who might be qualified to take over a group in an emergency. No, nothing special. Just checking. But keep it to yourself. Thanks.
FW at 2 o'clock. He's all yours, Mac. I got the lot. B-17 out of control. 10 o'clock. Those FW at 4 o'clock. Spinning in. 2 shoots. 3 more. It's FW. I got one. He flew up. Confirm that way.
Savage the Navigator. Have we made up that 2.5 minutes?
Yes, sir. Watch that FW, Vince. He's trying to ram us, sir. Oh, that was close. I could see his big blue eyes.
Here come 3 more. Close it up tight.
Hit, sir. Number 3 on fire.
Feather number 3.
Savage to crew. How bad are we hit?
Bombardier to commander. 20 millimeter through the nose. Gordon got it. Everybody else okay.
Right rudder cable shot off, sir.
Savage to crew. Hold your stations now. Let's settle down.
Black. 12 o'clock level.
All right. That means we can forget about fighters. Navigator, have you got a position?
We're on the target. Halt, Steuben, dead ahead, sir.
Savage to Bombardier. Your airplane now. It's all yours.
I've got it, sir. Bomb bay's open. Bombs away.
Flashlight leader to deputy leader. Ben, my radio operator is dead. Send the strike report for me.
Gately, roger. Flashlight leader.
Tail gunner, how's the formation look back there?
Baker force reassembling okay. Charlie force is strung out bad. FW's attacking the stragglers.
Able to Charlie. Are you having trouble?
Charlie to Able, we're straggling. About 20 FWs jumped us.
Tail gunner, one of Charlie's aircraft hit bad, sir.
Able to Charlie, I'll give you a slow turn. Cut across and tack onto us.
Cop to commander. We'll be turning right over a flak belt, sir.
Can't help it, Joe. We can't leave all those stragglers to the fighters.
That is, roger. Charlie force cutting across, pulling up and back.
Wait, sir. Major Cobb is hit. Direct burst, sir.
Joe! Come on, bail out, Joe. Bail out. Jump, you guys. Jump or you...
Major Cobb, sir. Exploded.
Joe. Flashlight leader to Cobb Squadron. Go back into formation. Form on Baker 2.
All the stragglers caught up, sir. Back in formation.
All right, let's go home. Bob, you got a cigarette? My pack's kind of wet. What's the idea, Keith? The old man's sending you down here. Doesn't he trust my reports anymore?
You know the old man. Oh, Harvey, mind if I swipe a drink?
Help yourself, Keith.
How does it look for tomorrow, Frank?
Well, I can't tell yet. A lot of damage.
I'm sorry about Joe.
Well, that's the way it goes.
The old man was mighty pleased with the results.
Well, he ought to be. Looks as though tomorrow could wash it up if we're any good. How'd the other boys make out?
A little rough, but they'll put up a maximum for tomorrow or close to it.
Good.
Maximum effort. I need another drink.
Huh? Colonel Stovall, are you drunk?
I am, a little. I believe I warned the general it might happen again sometime.
Well, that's not a bad way to celebrate a promotion.
That is not why I am drunk, sir. I got drunk because I am confused. I was thinking, which is a thing a man should not do. I was thinking, and all at once I couldn't remember what any of them looked like. Bishop, Cobb, Wilson, Zimmy, all of them. All of you. They all look alike, just one face, and it was a very young face, and it confused me. I think I shall stay drunk until I am not confused anymore.
Well, anyway, keep it going till tomorrow night, and I'll join you.
Tomorrow night? You leading the mission tomorrow, Frank?
What else? If you'll clear out of here and let me get some sleep.
Well, there they go. Another one.
2 days in a row. Say, how does that savage do it anyway?
Go over and ask him. He's just climbing into his airplane now. Go over and tell him you want to...
Hey, what's up?
The general. Don't seem like he can climb aboard. Maybe we ought to go up...
Take it easy. We're only ground crew. There goes Colonel Gately over. General Savage. General, what's the matter, sir?
I don't know. I tried to pull myself up and...
Are you sick, sir?
Something's wrong. My hands, they won't work.
Do you want me to take it, sir?
No. Tell Gately to take it.
Yes, sir. He'll take it. Keith.
What's the matter, Ben?
Put him in the Jeep. Get hold of Doc Kaiser.
You gotta get Gately. Gotta tell him to...
Steady, Frank. All right, lean on me, fella. What's the matter? You sick?
Well, what? Where's my oxygen mask?
Come on, Frank. Let's get in the Jeep. Come on.
Oh, they're going. Stop it.
Hold it, fella.
Where's
Take it
Keith?
easy.
Call the tower. Fire a flare. Tell Keith.
I'm right here, Frank. It's okay.
We can't make
It's
it. They
okay.
can't go. You can't send them out there again. Stop them. Stop them.
smoke.
No use, Keith. He doesn't even seem to hear you.
Yeah, I know. What do you make of it, Doc?
State of shock, complete collapse, everything let go at once.
Don't you think you ought to give him another hypo?
Hell, I gave him one that should knock out an elephant. He's fighting it, Harvey. He's up there somewhere with the mission.
It's screwy. I never figured that it could happen to him.
Well, I did. I watched him sweep his feelings under the carpet long enough. It had to spill out someday.
But I never saw him more full of fight than he was at briefing.
Did you ever see a light bulb burn out? How bright the filament is just before it lets go. I think they call it maximum effort.
Yeah. I got it. Davenport. They did? That's fine. Thanks very much. Frank, that was the strike report. They hit the primary, okay. Do you hear me, Frank? Gately reports a good result. They clobbered it. Frank, you've got to listen to me. I know what you're feeling. You think you blew it, but what do you expect of yourself, Frank?
Let me try, Keith. Look, Chief, I saw something in those kids' faces at briefing this morning. You were going to make them grow up, remember? Well, they were this morning. You think you aren't up there with them? Look, you're riding at every crew station and in every cockpit.
It's no use. They're back, Frank. They're back.
I counted 12 so far.
13. 14. 15.
Yes? Control tower? You got a count, Captain? 19? Thanks. Frank, the boys really did it. 19 back.
19. They made it, huh? 19 of them.
That's right, Frank. 19 of them.
Who led?
Ben Gately.
Is he back okay?
Yes, Frank, he's back.
The funny thing, Keith, I'm kind of tired. I think I'll go to sleep for a little while. Ladies and gentlemen, you have just heard Gregory Peck with Ward Bond, Hugh Marlowe, Millard Mitchell, Reed Hadley, and John Kellogg in the radio premiere of Darrell F. Zanuck's 20th Century Fox production, 12 O'Clock High. And here's a little surprise for you, someone who has a very warm place in your hearts, I'm sure. Your beloved Dr. Christian, the president of the Motion Picture Relief Fund, Mr. Gene Herschel.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, that as Dr. Christian, I have brought many children into the world. But as Gene Herschel, I want to tell you that my real baby is the Motion Picture Relief Fund and its country house and hospital. A wonderful project that has been made possible only through the generosity and sympathy of all the great artists who have appeared here in our Screen Guild Theater. To them, to all the studios whose cooperation has been so complete and wonderful, I want to say thanks again as we begin our 14th and greatest year. Greg, you're a pretty big man. Will you carry on our thanks to the entire industry?
I most certainly will, Gene. But while you're passing the thanks around, you ought to slip a few to the American Broadcasting Company for giving us a whole hour in which to do these radio adaptations.
You're right, Greg. And we are taking advantage of that hour. We've got some wonderful shows lined up for the coming season.
I've heard all about it, Gene. You're going to have all the top stars in Hollywood. Spencer Tracy, Lana Turner, Claudette Colbert, Ginger Rogers, Ed McMurray, Paulette Goddard, Olivia de Havilland, and that's just mentioning a few.
Yes, Greg, you and I know that's inside Hollywood. It has the greatest heart in the world. Thanks again for coming, and thanks for a great performance.
Glad to be here, Gene. Good night.
so the curtain falls on our first play in a new star-studded Screen Guild season. Next week, our play will have a different flavor. It's one of the most delightful comedies ever brought to the screen. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's rollicking movie that bombards you with laughs as it takes a knowing and unexpected view of Russia. Yes, it's the famous comedy Ninotchka, and it will be played by two of your very favorite stars, Joan Fontaine and William Powell. Make a date with Ninotchka right now. You can meet her here next week at this same time. Remember, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's brilliant comedy, Ninotchka, starring William Powell and Joan Fontaine. Don't miss it. The Screen Guild players are directed and transcribed in Hollywood by Bill Lawrence. The adaptations are by Harry Cronman. Music was under the direction of Basil Adlam. 12 O'Clock High was presented through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox, producers of Darrell F. Zanuck's No Way Out. Gregory Peck will soon be seen in Captain Horatio Hornblower, and Ward Bond is currently working in Only the Valiant, both Warner Brothers productions. Hugh Marlowe's next release will be Darrell F. Zanuck's All About Eve, and Millard Mitchell will soon be seen in Mr. 880, both 20th Century Fox productions. And remember, next Thursday night, the Screen Guild players present Ninotchka, starring Joan Fontaine and William Powell. Be sure to listen.
This is Gregory Peck inviting you to stay tuned for the original Amateur Hour with Ted Mack, the man who gives so many youngsters their start to stardom. It will follow immediately over many of these stations.
This is Bill Davidson saying good night. This is the American Broadcasting Company.